was thinking that we would do a little thrifty art history moment together. I mostly just want to nerd out about one of my favorite artists, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm sure you've heard of him, Henry Chagall. I became obsessed with his work a couple years ago. I lived with somebody who had a bunch of posters of his, and they just hung it around our apartment, and it just brought such like a magical touch to this space. And I was like, okay, hold on. Who is this? What is this? And just being surrounded by a lot of his work was really special, and felt like it christened the space and made a fan of me forever. So Marc Chagall, wherever you are in the heavens, I appreciate your existence on this planet and the time that you served here and the beautiful things that you made. And sometimes you just have to nerd out about a painter slash stained glass window maker slash set creationist from the late 1800s. And if you're here, then you are here for a reason. And we are supposed to be spending this time together. And I just want to thank you for stopping at this little corner in the vast and endless internet space to hang out with me and nerd out together about Marc Chagall and check out this gorgeous little book that I picked up from the thrift store. I feel like used book, thrifty kind of places, untapped potential for art books, because art books are very expensive, except for often thrift stores and secondhand bookshops just have them in bounty. And yeah, so if you love an art book, and if you want just little poster kind of situation to hang up in your space or to reference for your art, or just to appreciate, then yeah, check out your local thrift. Yeah, Marc Chagall. I did a little bit of research for you guys as we appreciate his gorgeous work together. Yeah, he was born in Vitebsk, I hope I'm saying that right, a Russian town in 1887. His father worked for a fish merchant. He was the oldest of 9, which is crazy. And he was Jewish, Russian, French. And from his early life, very inspired and moved by Russian and Jewish folklore. And there is something very folklore-esque about his work. I'll show you some pieces. The storytelling in his paintings is crazy. And the color. This isn't a good example of how masterful he was with blue. Let me try to find one that is. I mean, the man loved some reds too. but he made blues, in my opinion, like extremely warm. Here we go. Here's a little fish. Cute little fishy. And some like warm blues. But he painted a lot of fish, perhaps as a little nod to his father who worked in the fish industry. And there's something really magical about fish, and he could sense their angelic qualities. Can tell by the fact that he always drew them winged. He was a big fan of wings. A lot of his themes are flight and angels. This one is beautiful. Double portrait with wine glass. And the anniversary, I believe. Can see this floaty little double figure painting. Yeah, he was heavily inspired by his muse, his first wife, Bella, I believe. And after she passed away and he was a widower, he continued to paint her as an angel in the sky of many of his famous works. And something like about Chagall, and I am no art historian expert, I am an art historian hobbyist, and you can be too. Art is for everyone. Yeah, I didn't like go to school for like art, or I'm very novice in the subject, but something that I find particularly wonderful and inspiring about his approach to art making and his kind of resonance with both folks who are looking at his work through kind of an academia lens and people like me who are like, I just like these posters in my house. Who is this? Is that he dealt very closely with the symbols of love and painted from a place of love. And love is a huge through line through the way he grapples with his subject material. Picasso said it very well when he said that, I don't know, it was something like, I don't know where he gets his images about Chagall. He was like, but he must have an angel in his head. And I think that just so many people through so many different timelines and so many different periods of history have been incredibly moved by his whimsy and childlike wonder that just totally shines from all of his work, and in tunedness with the divine. Like divinity in its so many forms. He really didn't shy away from like the simple like goodness of like the things that we are moved by in storytelling from a young age. And it's just so cool how that connects us through like time and space, and that we can feel that. I think it's awesome. But yeah, Chagall, in my research hat on, was led like a very traveled life. A lot of it was to escape the plights of World War II. First leaving Russia. At one point, he left Europe. He left Paris for New York for a period of time. But he had like a special relationship to his Eastern European lineage and adolescence, and often seemed to have kind of a like sorrowful, nostalgic dreaminess around his hometown, and it evolved away from like a real place into, with his paintings as like a transmuting force, this like personal legend to him, it seems like he was able to transform a lot of those landscapes from reality and past to this like ever-present, transcendent kind of storybook space that was based on his hometown, but very much real to his child self and his like everlasting inner child that like interacted with it through art making. A lot of birds, a lot of horses, a lot of fiddlers. He did some pottery work as well. We have the gorgeous bust of a woman on this little pot here. It's just so good. And yeah, a lot of weddings, of which he had 2. A lot of flight and horses in little towns and religious symbols, birth, babies. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like you can try to understand it, and it will just, I think the best art is like no matter how much you know about it or understand it, like a painting, you'll always look at it and be like, this is eternally like going to hold such a mysterious quality to me, and I could like spend forever looking at this, and I'll never get it all the way. Like I can understand it up to an extent, but rather than being like a static 2-dimensional rendering, it's a portal to something that I can see in fragments and understand in like moments of looking, but I can like always return to and like get more out of. I did see some of his work. I went to the Chicago Art Institute a while ago, and I saw his stained glass, which I believe was commissioned of him a little bit later in life, and it was just like miraculous blues through the medium of glass. Was just crazy. It was so like beautiful, like the kind of beauty that you just want to like be like, how do I get back to this feeling like as much as I possibly can. And thinking about stained glass and thinking about Marc Chagall and thinking about the types of things I want to be around has made me kind of reflect about like, I think I need like beauty and color is like such a value of mine in this modern world. Like it's just like, yeah, it has such value. Like art makers and like creative thinkers and people who like make beautiful things just for the sake of it, but like it doesn't really hold a functional purpose besides like evoking emotion and like being a type of like gorgeous and stunning that hasn't existed prior to this creation. Not to be like a broken record or pretentious. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm talking about in terms of actual art history, but I know that I'm passionate about this, and I know that I love talking about it. And if you're here with me, which if you're still here for this long ramble sesh, I appreciate you and you're awesome. And I hope that you have resonated with some of these kind of looping thoughts and reflections. Um, but yeah, just thinking about the value of beautiful things that don't really have function, but like need to exist actually. Um, yeah, I think that I don't remember where it was from, but I was talking with a friend. We got pizza and love a pizza chat. Great, great conversation always comes from a pizza chat. But at one point, they said something like, they'd found this quote that was like something about creation, because they like to like make music and I like to like draw and paint, and we were talking about like what it means to us and where we are at right now in our relationship with like creation. And they had seen this quote that said creation is like something about creation is like making real what the inner eye is like always experiencing, like putting a form to these like deeply interior, not just feelings, but like images. And I feel like Chagall, everybody speaks to how dreamlike and familiar his paintings are. Like to me, they truly feel like when you're like lying in bed and you're exhausted, but you're not asleep, but you're on the brink of sleep, and you close your eyes and you're just seeing like weird shit, and you're like, whoa, like what was that? And they're like inexplicable, and sometimes off-putting, but sometimes like really beautiful and really special. I feel like that space between dream and wake is such a fertile, potent ground for kind of being able to see into what those like images that art making comes from are, because you're like conscious enough to almost snatch them up, but not lucid enough to like become blind to them almost. And I think Chagall was like masterful in that skill, and that totally is a skill. It's not really a skill that you can like get paid for or like have a career with, but it's a skill that is deeply connective and like is able to connect people through these images that feel familiar and feel resonant, even though, you know, we never will meet Chagall. I didn't cross paths with him in his physicality, and yet like interacting with someone's paintings makes them like live a little longer and become somewhat eternal and beyond like the mortal earthly form, which is so cool and so interesting how that works. But yeah, I am going to finish out this episode on my Patreon, which I just started. And if you like listening to me gab and just kind of share my thoughts, which are often rambling and about so many plethoras of random interesting things, please meet me over there. I would love to have you. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to be doing more art chats, talking about art history from a very novice perspective. I do want to share some more thoughts about some of my favorite books that I've been reading, and just like have some space to connect with you guys where we can talk and build a community where we can continue some of these conversations. And I just want to create a space where people feel really relaxed and comfortable and curious and able to just like bring themselves as they are. And I feel like that will be a great space for it. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here. And if you head over to the Patreon, then I will see you there.